Banking and finance, financing crop production. So, even though through the terms banking and finance are most of the time used together as an institution, but there is a very big difference in both. So, banking finance are two different matters if subject, but both terms collectively refers to the services and activities by banking and non-banking financial institution. The banking involves an institution holding money on behalf of customers that is appearing at the bank for a withdrawal by writing check to a third party, electronic machines, mobile or short codes transaction. So the banking system also provides loans to service and individuals. So they offer certified check to customers quartering payment to third parties, ATM cards, mobile and short codes charges. So the member of banking system and the function that typically perform include the commercial banks, investment banks, national central banks, and commercial bank. And then let's talk about the commercial banks. So commercial banks that takes deposit and make loans. So the investment banks is that specialize in capital market issues and trading. And the national central banks that issues currency and set monetary capital policy. So the banking is becoming the most important part of today's business. Many of us requires the service of bank in conducting our day-to-day transaction, which also services if the banking system. So, let's talk about the finance. So, this is non-banking financial institution, and that includes a number of companies that provide financial, which is the insurance companies, brokerage, financial research firms, pension funds, investment funds, and private equity firms. So, the main function of the financial services firms is managing investors' money and assets. So, for example, service provided by some of these financial firms are follows. So, number one, insurance companies. So, insurance companies provide a coverage against a predicted future crisis for a few known as premium. So, number two, hedge funds. So, it is the pools of money collected from wealthy investors' wealth. And then the financial research firms, it provides large corporation analysis and insights into investments decision. So these are the difference between banking and finance. So the main difference between banking and finance is that non-banking financial institution that cannot take deposits from customers as traditional banks do. Banks provide services include deposits, giving loans, and securities underwriting, and also offering shares to the public. Let's talk about the manufacturing, processing farm products as raw materials. So, manufacturing is production of goods through the use of labor machinery tools, biological or chemical processing, or formulation. So, there are types of manufacturing. So, manufacturing production. So, number one is make to stick, MTS. So, a factory produces goods to stock stores and showrooms. Then, number two is make to order, So it is called MTO. So the producer waits for orders before manufacturing. So number 3 is make to assemble. So make to assemble, it is MTA. So the factory produces component part in anticipation of orders from assembly. So a manufacturing business may need many parts for the complicated assembly of a quality product or just the few for making a simple good. So let's talk about the raw materials. So the raw materials are used in a multitude of products and can take many different forms. So the raw materials are the input goods or inventory that company needs to manufacturing its products. So for example, the steel used to manufacture vehicles would be a raw materials for an automobile manufacturing. So that is the example. And then the raw materials are commodities that are bought and sold on commodities exchange worldwide. Traders buy steel, raw materials in the factory market because raw materials are factor if production as are um, labor and capital. So, for example of raw materials. So, the example of raw materials is the steel, lumber, oil, plastic, corn, natural grain, coal, gasoline, um, forest resources. So, that is the example of raw materials.
Transport and logistic from farm to market. Transport and logistic helps to travel a long distance in a short period of time. It also helps in importing and exporting goods, transporting goods from one place to another. Transportation is the activity of taking goods or people from one place to another in a vehicle. Transportation may take place by air, water, rail, road, and etc. The goal for this is to minimize transportation cost while also meeting demand for products. And the logistic is the management of the inward and outward transportation of goods from the manufacturer to the end user. So in transportation services helps the logistics by moving goods from locations where they are sourced to locations where they are demanded. Transportation provides the essential services of linking a company to its supplier and customers. So the advantages of the transport and logistic is the public importance reduces air pollution and the improve of community mobility. Wholesale and retail trade. Wholesaling in the process where the wholesaler purchases product in bulk from the manufacturer. Retailing is when the retailer purchases product from the wholesaler and sell it further in small quantities to the end customer. The difference between wholesale and retail is that in a wholesale mode, you don't sell product directly to customers. In a retailing model, you obtain products from a distributor and sell product directly to consumers. And the advantages of the wholesale and retail trade is you'll save money and you'll familiarize yourself with industry and knowledge.
So next is creative industries using farm byproducts. Are those based on individual creativity, skill, and talent, or which have the potential to create wealth and jobs through the development or production of intellectual property. So, the creative industry for farm products can contribute to economic growth through the creation of a wide variety of jobs. When there is training and development being offered, there will be a shift in the mindset of the participants, and this will result in people investing more in this sector. Next is diversified strategies, farming and fishing. So, diversification in the context of the fisheries sector can be understood in many different ways. Some authors, speaking of diversification, mean, for instance, first, diversification of primary production activities. Example, new fishing techniques and gear, or diversification within the fishing sector. Second, diversification of activities within the fish value chain, often into those that add value to fish products, direct sales marketing. Third, flurry activity whereby fishermen and their families continue to obtain some income from fishing but also carry out complementary activities such as tourism or catering. Fourth is broader diversification of the fisheries area into sectors unrelated to fishing, such as social services, renewable energies, or other emerging sectors. So, diversification is relevant for many types of areas offering to fishermen, their families, and other members of fisheries community a possibility to create new sources of employment and income, while also providing service that help fisheries areas remain viable places to live, fish, and do business. Next is high-value crop production. So, high-value crops generally refer to staple agricultural crops such as vegetables, fruits, flowers, ornamentals, condiments, and spices. So, most high-value agricultural crops are those known to have a higher net return per hectare of land than staples or other widely grown crops. Examples of these commodities include abaca, banana, cacao, calamansi, cassava, coconut, coffee, corn, mango, oil palm, onion, pineapple, rice, rubber, sugar, or vegetables, or also livestock and poultry.